All right, I was on Facebook this morning, and there's been some people talking about pigeons and using them for training your dog. Pigeons are fantastic. I love pigeons. Aside from being able to use pheasants or chukar or something like that, I hate quail because they brittle and they don't fly worth the crap half the time. And they either don't fly worth the shit or they fly too good. So I don't like them. I hate quail. I'd walk 10 miles to watch a pissant eat a bale of hay before I'd freaking use a freaking quail. I hate quail. Anyways, what I do is I use pigeons all the time. They're great birds. They're hardy. They're sturdy. They're resilient. They flush well. They put off a lot of good scent. They're just fabulous. I'm a fan. Anyways, I was reading through there, and there's some people talking about, using pigeons, and they're talking about, clipping the wings on a pigeon or pulling flight feathers out or whatever. Ain't no need for that. Ain't no we got time for that. First of all, it's God's commandment, take care of our creatures on earth. So I don't want to push too many people, but I feel like, we're sportsmen, we're hunters, but if it's not necessary, take care of them animals. I mean, a pigeon is there for you to use as a training tool for another animal that you're using, that you care about. So I care about my pigeons. I like my pigeons. I really do. I love my pigeons. I mean, I'm not like full on Mike Tyson, got them, in my house and stuff and cooing with them and stuff, but I like my pigeons and take care of them. And because they're essential, so I don't want to have to do anything unnecessary to them, so it's just so simple. There's so many methods you can do where you don't have to hurt the bird or anything like that, because that's just not what we're out to do. That's not the end game. We're here to train dogs, not. So I use a pigeon pole. So that's a good method. I like to card pigeons is my favorite method. They call it carding pigeons. Back in the day, they would take trying to see what I got around here to show. I don't have any cardboard. But you can just take a cardboard square, yay big, 3x4 or something like that. Drill a hole in one corner of it, attach some, string to it, make a tether, tie it to the end of the pigeon's leg or whatever. And it just acts as a big sail, is all it is. So, the bird can fly a certain amount, it can fly, anywhere. It just depends on the strength of the bird, but a bird can fly a ways and then it can go back down, because it runs out of steam. Then you can hunt the bird again. Works great. Doesn't hurt the bird, doesn't do anything to manipulate the bird, and cause it permanent injury or anything. So my favorite way of carding is to not use cardstock or whatever, but I use these little Gatorade bottles. So you can get these little Gatorade bottles. They come in like a 10, 12 pack from Sam's Club or whatever. They're the small ones that are like the size of the palm of your hand. They're not like the medium-sized ones you get at a convenience store or the big ones. Those are not what you're looking for. You're looking for the little bitty ones. And I've got a couple different sizes of them. I cut 2 or 3 of these down. So, you can see from the size here, this one's not very big at all, and then this one here is a little longer, it's about twice as long. That's just for your ratio of weight. And then how you build your battling this cold. How you build your tether for carding your pigeons is I use decoy cord. I just go rob one of my decoys that my buddy shot, and that's no longer in my spread, and go rob the hardware off of it, and use this nice stuff here. Take your cap for your bottle and drill a hole in it. Then you can run your cord through there, tie a knot in it. Good knot a couple times. And then, so it's got to stop. And then you can just screw it on your bottle for whatever size. You don't have to have 2 or 3 of these laying around. You can just screw it onto whatever size bottle you need, depending on how far you want your bird to fly and based on the size and strength of your bird, So you might screw this big one on here and it can only fly 20 yards or something like that. And you're like, well, that's no good. I want it to fly 40 or 50 yards or further. Then you just unscrew this and screw on the short one. Voila. It's genius. So anyways, I take this, and this is, shit, let me see. So I got a tape measure around here somewhere. This is about, this tether is 16 inches long, roughly. So just get you a piece 16, 18 inches long to allow for your knot. You know, you're going to lose a little there, and you're going to lose a little at your crimp. So about 16 inches in between here. So if you make it 18, you'll be about right on. Then cut you 2 more, about 8 inches long, 8 to 10 inches long. So you'll have one piece about 18 inches long and 2 pieces about 10 inches long. Why you want to do that is so, you know, you can drill your hole, run that up through there, screw it, or tie a knot on the end of it so you can screw it on your bottle. Come down here and get you electrical connection, a little butt connector, and then crimp your 10-inch pieces and your 18-inch piece together. So then you've got this shackle that's going to go around each one of the pigeon's wrists. I don't like to just tie something to its foot because it's a pain in the butt. Because then you get out there in the field, and if it's cold, you got gloves on, and you can't do anything with gloves on half the time, and you're trying to untie it, you know, and you're trying to hold the bird so it doesn't get away, and you're trying to untie it with one. It's a pain in the butt. So what you do is you go to probably any hardware store or sporting goods store. Like I said, I just robbed this off my decoys, off of one of the decoys that my buddy shot. And these are just little, let's see if you can see here. These are just these little depth adjusters. You push this down, this is depth adjusters for for your decoys based on how much water. So what I do is I slip this depth adjuster on here and then tie an end in it, and then it makes this nice little, you know, this little shackle here. So what you do is you do that on each one of them, and then you can just, you know, open this bad boy up. You know, you can open that bad boy up, pretty good size, and then you can put the pigeon's foot through there, and then you can just cinch her down, you know, just like that, bang, and do it on the other side. You know, put the little pigeon's foot through there, and then you can just cinch it down around its wrist, and then its foot will be there, you know, so it can't get away from it, and it ain't hurting it. You know, we're not out here to hurt these birds, you know. I mean, I hear people talking about, you know, and I'm not singling anybody out or saying it's bad. That's just difference in opinion. I don't think that there's any need to clip a pigeon's wings or pull a bunch of flight feathers out to get it to where you can reuse your pigeon again, you know, so it can't fly very far. Well, you can do all that right here without hurting a bird. It's God's commandment to take care of these animals, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to hurt the bird. I mean, I realize we're sportsmen, we're hunters, and at the end of the day, we kill animals, but we kill them and we eat them. We don't want to hurt birds simply for purpose of training our dogs. And I like my pigeons, I really do. They're great birds, they're fantastic birds. I love pigeons, so the last thing I want to do is hurt my birds. So this is a very, very smart and humane way of achieving the desired result of like, you know, clipping a bird's wings or whatever. Well, so you don't need to do that. So like I said, you just get you a Gatorade bottle, get you a couple of them, cut them down to different lengths for different weights, drill a hole through the cap, you know, and then tie a knot in one end so it, you know, can't come off. And then 18-inch piece, butt connector, 2 10-inch pieces, 2 depth adjuster things. Slide one on each one, tie a knot in the end of it, like so. And then you've got 2 shackles that go around your pigeon, and they don't have to be super tight. You don't want them where they're rubbing, just where they won't come off, you know, because they got the foot, so they're not gonna come off. And then you can go plant this bird, you know, you can go plant this bird and you just kind of coil that up there in the grass where it's laying up on top, you know, and just laying up there next to that bird, you know. Go plant that bird, work your dog up there, dog can point it, you can flush it, and it's going to fly off, and it's going to have this sail behind it, and so it's only going to fly however far the bird can fly with with the weight. And then you can use that bird. It'll go down. Your dog's going to chase it. He's going to hunt and find it again, and you're going to be able to use it again and again and again and again until it runs out of steam or whatever. And then you just go back, put that bird back in the crate, get out another bird, start over with another dog or whatever. It's fantastic. And this is simple, and this is cheap. Awesome. And if you're me, simple and cheap, that's what I'm talking about. All right, the next thing is a pigeon pole. And we got us a handy dandy pigeon pole right up there at the top of there. I'll get her down and show you what that's all about. Alrighty. I apologize, folks, for my voice. What this is just a piece of PVC plastic pipe, you know, from Lowe's, Home Depot. This is rigid non-metallic conduit above ground or underground. It's, you know, and it's made in America. But all you do here is take your piece like this, cap for the end of it, and I just take a mallet or whatever and pop that on there. You know, I don't even glue it really. But before you do that, drill a hole in the end of it with a little eyelet, and then get you some of this decoy cord, braided cord, or whatever. I wouldn't use the plastic stuff, maybe. I don't know. I never have. I wonder. Heck, it might work better in the grass, you know. It wouldn't catch as much. But anyways, doesn't matter. I just use this cheap stuff here, decoy cord. And I've got about, shoot, I don't know, 40 feet or somewhere on there. I don't know. And it's got the same deal on it, you know. I've got on the end of this here, there's tethers, you know. I didn't, when I did this project, I didn't go to the same. I didn't go to get as fancy as I did here. I just tied a slip knot, you know. But before I use it again, I'll probably put some on here like this. But, you know, just 2 tethers, one around each wrist. And then you go take you a little piece of what I try to say, like a rebar or something like that, or an electric fence post, you know, and hammer that bad boy in the ground. Slip this over it. You know, slip this over it. You know, and you got this here, and then you take your pigeon, and then you plant it in the grass, and then you work your dogs up to it, and your dog can point, and then you can flush the bird, and it's got 40 foot of, you know, radius that bird can fly. And ain't nothing gonna get that dog jazzed up more than a giant bird, you know, or a bird on a giant string flying around and going crazy. You know, that's gonna jack a dog up. So gets their prey drive going really well. And I don't use this all the time. Every once in a while, just with young dogs or whatever. But it works well. It works really well, and it's cheap. I mean, you're talking, what, maybe $10 at the most in material here? I mean, this is a very economical and cheap and no-brainer way of doing things, you know? And you don't have to lock wing, or you don't have to clip a pigeon's wings. You don't have to pull a handful of feathers out of it, you know? This is just an easy way of doing it without harming the bird. And then you can just do like I do and get you a couple deals here and mount the bad boy up on the wall. Almost gonna stick it right up here for now. But anyways, you mount it up out of the way, and you don't have to worry about it. So the final method is to lock wing a pigeon. Now, if you lock wing a pigeon, and I don't have one here to show you, I can download you, I can put a link or whatever, but you can lock wing a pigeon by just simply taking the bird and taking its wings and just locking one over the other one. It doesn't hurt the bird, it doesn't break its bones, it doesn't do anything. All you're doing is you're taking the bird and you're just slipping one wing past the other one and locking it together. It just kind of locks it together. The bird can't fly and it can't flush. So that's just a situation where you're just going to have your dog like on a check cord or a short leash, and you're going to work because you definitely don't want to let the bird, your dog be going up to the bird without having it secured either through a check cord or a leash, because then the dog can jump in there and catch that bird, and we don't want to do that. We don't want the bird getting mauled up, and we don't want the dog catching the bird. That's not what you're trying to do. So in a controlled situation with a leash or with a check cord, you can lock wing, and then you can do that in your backyard, and then you can put a bird down and it can go nowhere, and then you can walk your dog up to it. It can see it and send it and point it, and it doesn't hurt the bird, and then you can just unlock wing it, put it back in the loft. Simple. I can find a link or whatever since I don't have any right here, but that's the 3 ways that I use. I hardly ever use the lock wing except for like with really young puppies, and I got clients that are wanting pictures of bird dog or puppies on point, or whatever, or, when they're really young, if they put a deposit down, they're like, you got any pictures of them, whatever, I'll lock wing a pigeon, throw it down, let them, and it makes for good pictures, and it works well. That's about the only time I do it. But the carding thing here, this is awesome. It works fantastic, and it jacks a young dog up. Because them birds flush just like a wild bird, for the most part. It doesn't flush out there like a rocket, like a pheasant, but it flushes well, which is great because it doesn't startle them either. So it'll flush great, and it'll fly, and that dog can see it and chase it, and it'll go back down, and the dog can hunt it and find it again, and it's fabulous, fabulous. So hope this helps you. I know it's long, I know it's wordy, I know I ramble, but I hope this helped you out. Have a good day.